to make someone a co-host if you want to share that as well.
We'll do. We'll do. Okay, so let's go back to the mute option. So of course, if you press the button, it mutes. If I hit a drop up arrow, I guess, not drop down, but the drop up arrow, I can select a different microphone, a speaker. I can test my speaker and microphone, or hey, I can switch to phone audio. Now, if I leave computer audio, then a lot of times I just get left out. And I just want to admit Lisa in here while we're there as well. So let's kind of talk a little bit about this, especially the select microphone. So right now, Jerald has what's called a lapel mic. So this little small microphone fits onto my shirt. I bought it from Amazon in a pack of 2 for 20 bucks. So you can find them as cheap as about $5, $10 single. You can get a pack of them. The reason why I bought the lapel mic is because if I didn't, my microphone would sound something like this. It may have a bit more of an echo, a surround sound. I may not be as audible. But if I go back to the lapel mic, I sound like I'm in your living room with you. So that's one way you can actually make yourself sound a little better while you're doing your speeches. And again, the lapel mics are a wonderful idea, very inexpensive, and they can fit into your microphone head jack or your earphone head jack on your tablet, your phone, etc. Speakers are pretty much the same way. If you have a different speaker set, I see like David has his headphones on, you can change. If David wanted to go from his headphones to the speakers on his PC audio, just change the select speaker here. And again, you can test your speaker and microphone out at any time. We won't hear it. Don't feel that you're going to interrupt anybody. You can test it out on your own just to make sure you're audible, and it'll be just fine. So we've gone through the audio techniques here. Are there any questions in regards to audio at the moment?
Yes, I'm on an iPhone. Is that going to have less of these things? I don't see this feature on mine.
It's quite possible. So, well, one, you have to actually have a different kind of audio, either receiver or like your headphones, they have to be attached, right? Or connected.
Right.
Bluetooth wise works as well. If you don't have anything else attached, you won't see those different options. So if I didn't have my microphone attached, I wouldn't be able to see that option.
Okay.
I see Jenny has her hand up. But Jenny, you're muted.
It is, I guess.
Let's try that.
I can, yay. At our meetings, we sometimes have folks when they're doing table topics and we cannot hear them. It bounces off the computer, whatever. Is this what we would tell them to do, is to get one of these speakers?
It's more so of a microphone if it's just like an individual themselves. Now, sometimes it could possibly be your laptop or the device that you're using. If your speakers are making it hard for you to hear, you might want to try to change going between headphones. Or you can try to, give me 1 second to make Melissa co-host.
I'm saying that, like, we have somebody who we will have given a table topic to, and it's muffled, it's coming in and out, and we have high speed from wherever our group is, or, you know, whoever's, do we just have that person get that kind of microphone for that person's self?
Right, if it's that individual, that's a good suggestion, but if you're hearing that from multiple people,
Yeah.
a lot of times it could be, right, so it could be your system. It could be your microphone. It could be your headphones or your speaker system that's doing it. So it might be a good idea just to play around with it to test it out.
I'm sorry, I guess I didn't make it clear. Ours are okay. It's just the one individuals.
There we go.
Hearing that, but it's nothing wrong with our stuff because we can hear everybody else perfectly fine.
Perfect. So if it's that individual, yeah, you probably want to suggest that individual gets a lapel or checks their test at least their microphone system and speaker set.
Thank you.
No problem. Oh, I see Katrina with her hand up.
I think the problem that we're having with this member is their phone is connected to their hearing aid. And I think that may be the issue.
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on with that one. So there's definitely issues using different types of technology together.
Agreed, definitely, because I've been on plenty of calls myself. I've had a lot of feedback on certain calls because I've had too many devices hooked up to one device. So it's definitely a possibility. All right, so let's mosey on to the video options here. So here you see stop video, and of course, most of you know by now, if you click this button, your video stops. You see my picture. So I press it again, my video starts back up. But you can also change like what types of video you're seeing on your device. So my device has a camera here in the front. It also has a camera in the rear. So you can kind of see a mug here in the back. The old Myers Park being represented. So if I show the front camera again, we're there. So there's different options you can have with your video. Another thing that's really cool is changing your virtual background. So some folks may want to look like Brian Crutchfield here at the beach. That's how Brian did it. He changed his virtual background. You can click choose your virtual background. And if you choose that, then you're able to see a variety of different background filters. So right now I have none. I may want to show that I'm in San Francisco. I can click that. Now I'm on the Golden Gate Bridge, or I might be in a field of lilies, right? But let's go to the moon, all right? So there's different backgrounds here. Another tip that a lot of folks have been using is timer cards as your background. So if I wanted to show that someone has reached their mark of speaking, here you go, there's a green background. There's yellow and red. Now, side note, you can download a lot better backgrounds than Jerald's showing you right now from the Toastmasters website. These are things I made many, many months ago, but you can download those. And another tip that I just learned from our good friend Phyllis Combo is that you can actually create green screens. I think Phyllis either said this or it was Don Webb as well, but someone actually had created poster boards, green poster boards behind them. And so if you create the green poster boards behind you, it acts as a green screen and it makes the image look a lot better. So you see how Brian's image is so much more nicer than mine was? Brian's probably having a green screen behind him that's projecting that image.
Another thing to consider is if you have a bare wall, sometimes that shares your virtual images a little bit better, but we could see the pictures on the wall behind you, Jerald, but if it was all white space or whatever, a solid color, then it might come across a little bit better.
Absolutely. And I saw Jenny, you had a question?
Jerald, how do we go about getting other backgrounds to put on to ours, just in general? So do we go to our gallery on our computer or on our phone, and is there a way to get it from there to be a background for Zoom? Or do we go to Google Images and take something from there? How do we do that? Both of those things.
Okay, so let's start with how to add like maybe a current image you already have. So I went back to the same area. Well, let me go back, just make sure everyone saw that. So I'll click the up arrow again, choose virtual background.
Wait, okay.
And then there's a little addition button that says add image,
Where is that? Oh, okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you add that image, you can choose a different picture. And right now we'll go default to whatever I have on my laptop here. So I could show you pictures of, I don't know, Duke University or places that we've been in the past. But Melissa, please don't shake your head. That's one of the most beautiful sights on the planet. But you can also,
Baby Amber.
right? You can choose those types of pictures, or now, Jenny, you asked a question about getting new pictures, right?
Google Images or whatever.
Correct. You can go to Google Images and you can download pictures from Google Images or just save them. Now, I would suggest getting free stock so that you don't, pirate anything, but there are plenty of stock photos that you can get new images from. So for folks who are trying to wonder what that is, just go to Google, type in the picture of what you would like, and you can see it there. I can maybe show you an example here. Oops.
Oh,
My laptop's freezing up. No. All right, let's try that. There we go. Captain Phillips is a movie that our intern was just telling me about. So let's try that one. So images for Captain Phillips. And you can just choose one of those images. Let's say I just want to choose this Tom Hanks image. And I can copy it, I can download it, I can save it, right? I can save this image as, I just right clicked on that image.
but that says copyright on it. That one's,
It does. So I normally would not ever do that. This is just an example, but that's the way you would normally take the image. But you can do free stock. So let me show you free stock photos
oh, in Google.
in Google, right?
Okay.
And if you want to get another stock picture, maybe this one's pretty cool. You can download any free stock photos there and just right click again, save image as, and just save it to a location that you would actually remember, and you can upload it from your laptop onto that virtual background.
And are you able to play with them? Bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller?
Not real time, but yeah, you give yourself a couple minutes outside of Zoom, you probably could do it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we went over the sound options and the video options. Those are like the main things, right? Those are like the things that are bread and butter for when we're giving our speeches virtually. The next couple of options you see, let's go with the ones you guys currently see on your screen. So you don't see security. Some of you may see participants. Now you guys should probably be able to see like who I can see. Now, if you are the host, this is what you see. You see the host name, who is a co-host, and everyone else that's in the meeting, right? Now, this option is also very, very useful for contests, and I'll explain why. Let's say that Angela Harris is giving a world-class speech, and Angela Harris is on the board. We don't want to see anyone else at the moment because we need to see just that speaker. And some folks may have a trouble muting their video. Well, with this view, I can go to everyone except Angela. I can go to Jenny. I can mute Jenny, right? I can hit more. I can hit stop video for Jenny, and I will stop her video. We not see Jenny for a while. And we just kind of go down the board. And this will help you out with your contest because it will take distractions off of everyone except for the speaker. Another reason why it's a good option in a sense is because it makes contests more partial. Can you just imagine if Angela had her whole entire family as guests and everyone's visibly cheering for Angela, holding up signs, vote for Angela during her speech. And maybe they're holding up signs against Karen Cathcart, who had another world-class speech, right? Well, again, it just takes out the distractions. So it's always a good option in a sense to kind of have those options available. All right, so that's the participants list. There's a couple of options.
May I ask a quick question about that, Jerald?
Sure.
If you're in a contest, your club is hosting want to mute everyone's video. That's a decision that has been made. Is there an option to do all at once? And then you can go back and highlight or unmute the test speaker or whomever we need to focus on at that point?
That's a great question. I have yet to find that option, but there's at the moment, to my knowledge, there's no way to just mute all videos at once. I can mute everyone's speaker at once by pushing the mute all.
Correct.
If you guys see at the bottom, but for video, I don't think there's a way you can actually mute everyone's video at one time. Now there is a setting with Zoom that you can actually have folks have their video off before they enter the meeting. So that's an option. But while they're in the meeting, if they have their video on, you probably have to stop their video manually, and each person by person. And it's just a few clicks. It's just a few clicks. And to unstop, it's the same thing. So Angela, I'm gonna stop your video just to show an example, and I'll restart it back, or ask you to restart it back. So I'm clicking on more, stop video, right? So now we see Angela's name here. And I can ask Angela to start her video. And she'll get a prompt, and boom, Angela's back. Another thing you guys probably just saw is the spotlight of video. So let's touch on that for just a second. Let's say, and I do apologize for calling folks out like randomly here, but we're having a happy hour, so everybody's having fun. So let's say Tanya Davis is on board, and we want to spotlight Tanya. So there's a couple ways to do this. Right now, everyone's seeing that there's these three, the ellipses, the three dots, right? So by David, right now, the three ellipses. If I scroll down to Tanya, I have three ellipses. And I can see Tanya's options are ask to unmute, stop video, chat, rename, pin video, spotlight video, make host, make co-host, allow record, etc. Well, I want to spotlight Tanya. Now what this does is this allows Tanya to be seen by everyone instead of Jerald right now. Oh no, I spotlighted the wrong person. Okay, let's unspotlight Tanya.
No,
So-
you didn't. That was right.
So,
Same as pin video? Is it
oh
the-
no, so pin video is different.
Oh,
So pin video, that's a great question though, Jenny, because pin video will allow me to pin, let's say a timer. Let's say I wanted to see Katrina or yourself be timers for a contest. I can pin you guys to the top of my screen, but I can spotlight Tanya. And while she's spotlighted, she's the main person in the speaker view.
okay.
But did you say you can do both at the same time? For instance, Tanya can be spotlighted and you can have the timer pinned.
Correct.
Okay.
And now the pinning of a video is based upon just an individual. So Jenny can pin anybody she wants to. Tanya can pin anybody she wants to as well. The host of the meeting can spotlight the speaker that they want to see. Now, because Tanya has on the absolute wrong shirt there, well, let's go ahead and cancel that spotlight and go back to
Jerald,
our
quick
previous view.
question.
Okay.
Please cancel the spot.
Um,
Wait a minute, can you show how you got to pin video? I'm looking at your screen and I'm not even sure which is my screen anymore. But can you show that again? How you?
Sure. Absolutely. So there's a couple of ways. If you're the host and you see a participants list, you can actually mouse over their name and click more. Well, I'm sorry, you asked about pinning video. My apologies. So in the different views here, so I see right now you see speaker view as an option. Right now I have you guys as the Brady Bunch view. So kind of the cascade view, the mini boxes. So with the mini boxes, if I want to pin, let's say Sharon Kaiser, I go to the top right of her name or her picture, right? I can either ask her to unmute or I click the three dots here, click those three dots, and then you see pin video.
Okay, let's see what happens.
And
So-
we can do that even if we're not the host of the meeting.
That's absolutely right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Mhm.
so what's the difference right now? We still see Sharon in all her glory, just like we did with Tanya with the spotlight.
Well, the difference is you see Sharon because she's on my screen. But if you were to pin someone else outside of just me sharing my screen, you would be the one person that will be able to see who you pinned. I couldn't see who you pinned.
Oh,
Can you try to spotlight somebody at the same time, Gerald, to see if we can see the pen and the spotlight?
Sure. So let's see. I pinned Sharon, so she's still pinned. Let's spotlight somebody else. We can't do Tanya anymore because she got the wrong shirt on. But let's go with Alan. We can do spotlight on Alan. See, so everybody sees Alan. He's there, and I still have Sharon there, and she is. Well, she's pinned for me now, but
When you pin Sharon, I can see Sharon real big. Can't everybody else?
It's because he's sharing his screen, so we see his screen right now.
Okay.
But if we weren't seeing, if he wasn't screen sharing and we pinned, we would see whoever we pinned instead of who he did.
Okay.
Gerald?
I'm sorry.
No, I had a question on that list of participants. Oh, no, on the three dots, it's talked about host and co-host. Is that how you get your co-host? Like,
that is one way. Yes, ma'am. You can go over the three dots again, and you can make it someone a co-host. Now you can have unlimited co-hosts, but you can only have one host at a time. And there is a major difference. I'll go over that in just a bit, but it's definitely a major difference. I think someone else had another question too. And Alan,
Yes, that was me, Gerald. Sorry. But since you were talking about contests with the videos with blocking people, would a contestant be able to say that they want to see participants on the video? Or how does that work? Like for me, like a humorous contest, like I want to see people laugh during my speech.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I think it's fair for the speaker to ask. I would have to leave that up to Tim or Melissa if there's any kind of rules. I'm not aware of any rules in a virtual environment against having others to be seen. But Tim, is there anything that's been brought out lately?
Yeah, I would just tell you, when it comes to the international speech, we wanted to alleviate any of the visual distractions, and that provided the environment exactly as it was done as it moved forward beyond district, because the regional and the semifinal and world championships, they were all done with no other visual distractions. For a humorous speech, personally, there's nothing that says you can't have people visible. And I agree with her. If I'm giving a humorous speech, you know, I want to see people laughing, whether I can hear them laughing or not. At least I know I'm getting a reaction.
I agree.
Thank you.
Done by just seeing them in gallery? Or no?
Yeah, you can see them in gallery, and there's also a speaker view that will allow you to see some folks, but the gallery view is by far the best. Bless you, Sharon. All right. So let's see, what are the other control? This chat, I think chat's pretty good for folks to see. Oh no, somebody pushed Go Cowboys. That's not good. Okay, so the chat feature here, you guys are probably seeing, is just basically the self-explanatory. You can make chats to everyone. Right now we have it listed so everyone can participate and chat to everyone, right? There are options for Zoom Master, or we'll call it the Zoom Master, the host of the meeting. The host can limit the chat. So if I wanted to just limit chats to just myself, I could list that to host only, right? So the participants can just chat with me. Or we can just limit chat to no one, and it will cut out all chat. Now this kind of plays a part for contests as well, especially if there's bias. So again, if Angela has half her family at a session, we kind of maybe want to cut that chat off for everybody, so that way no one's minds are influenced by, hey, go Angela, but the other speakers don't get the same kind of attention. But I'll put this back to everyone publicly and close that out. So I'm gonna take a quick pause there. Are there any questions in regards to anything that was just shared over the last couple of minutes? And is this helping anybody? Just want to make sure. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Michelle.
I just wondered, when people are being pinned or spotlighted, can we
can the person who's being pinned or spotlighted see that? Or can that happen without us knowing? Will that tell us?
Great question. So Sharon probably did not know I pinned her. So I'm gonna probably tell you that's probably a no. She won't know that I pinned her.
Okay.
Now the spotlight, I believe you should be able to know if you're being spotlighted. And right now, in my view, I can tell that I'm somewhat spotlighted, not officially, but I can see the little green hue around my box.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. All right, so let's
May I
dig.
mention one other thing about the videos?
Sure, go ahead.
Am I working? Okay, for stop video, a lot of times when you are participating or if the club has made a decision to not have videos on in your stop video options and video settings, you can click the button we're under in the meeting section that says hide non-video participants. So Gerald, if you were to select that button now, then you will see a change on the screen for the folks who do not have their videos live at this moment. It kind of clears up the screen so you're not seeing names, you're only seeing the pictures or the live video streams of the people that are actually showing their video.
Great point. Excellent point. All right, so mosey on to security, and then we'll talk about the big one, the breakout rooms, here in a few seconds. But for security features, I think everyone can still see my screen, right? Awesome. Okay. One question we got was, hey, we have a recurring meeting. We don't want to continue, making new URLs or web addresses for our meetings all the time. It's pretty annoying, and we have guests that want to come to a meeting. Excellent question. So in the settings themselves, and I hopefully this will work. So give me 1 second. I had to exit full screen. Here we go. So if you were to schedule a meeting, right? I'm gonna try to make this a little shorter. You can make a recurring meeting that has the exact same meeting ID, right? I can use my personal meeting ID. I have my own passcode, and I can create a waiting room for this meeting. So if you wanted to actually have the exact same meeting with the exact same passcode, I know, Melissa, I think for South Park Toastmasters, you guys use the exact same passcode, which makes it a lot easier for not only you to remember, but for your entire membership, maybe for guests. And this makes it a lot simpler for folks to actually enter meetings instead of having to, generate a new meeting ID all the time. But you can schedule your meetings on a recurring basis, but just pressing the recurring meeting button. So that way it's giving you the exact same date, same time. You can check it in your calendar invitations. If you want to have a meeting every Wednesday at 12, you can make it for Wednesdays at 12. If you want it at Fridays at 5, you can make them Fridays at 5. But just make sure the recurring meeting button there is pushed and that you've actually checked the recurrence or the repeat in your calendar invitation. All right. Now, one key thing that I think a lot of folks may not know, and maybe you guys do know this by now, Zoom has made it so that the Zoom bombings themselves should be decreasing, which they have been over the past couple of months. But that's because they've instituted a need to have passcodes or waiting rooms. So waiting rooms are optional, but passcodes were by far needed. So the passcode, you want to make sure it's something that maybe you can remember, but also it's something, just to note that it's something you absolutely have to have. The waiting room is like the extra step. So if you're really, really cautious, add a waiting room. I would suggest a waiting room for your contest by all means. So with the waiting room itself, you're able to literally vet who comes through the room and make sure and as a matter of fact, you can make sure they're registered on your Eventbrite or any system that you're using. by just making sure that the name matches up with the waiting room. That may be a little difficult for those who join with their cell phones, but you can always ask them in the waiting room who they are, so they can respond with their name, maybe they change their name, etc., before they enter the main room. Okay. And one last thing, the video options for the hosts, I keep mine off until I join a meeting, but you can also have the participants option to, when they join, to be off as well. So if you want a participant's video to be off before they join, just make sure that this is clicked to off. All right.
So may I offer a couple of things, Jerald, because
Sure.
this you were just sharing is different from when you log into Zoom and you schedule a meeting from the regular URL versus the screen that you just shared. Two quick things. The registration, there's an option that says register for this meeting. And that's what you all would have seen when you registered for this Zoom session tonight. The reason for that is when you register for a meeting, in my opinion, it eliminated the need for Eventbrite because we weren't gathering any additional information from you all as participants outside of your name and your email address. So that's one thing that you can consider when you're scheduling meetings, whether or not the Eventbrite is warranted or not. The other thing is, even for regular meetings, I use the password. I also use the waiting room, and I do registration. The reason for that is in this virtual environment, we're not passing around a guest book to say, hey, guest, please sign your name and provide your email address. But if they've registered to come into your meeting, then you have that person's first, last name, as well as an email address that goes to your VPM so that they can follow up on guests, and you know exactly who's been coming and going, who registered in advance to attend, so you kind of know who to expect. The other thing to mention is that the reason why I use the passcode and the waiting room is because we share information about our club meeting in different social media outlets. And so people see for South Park Toastmasters, the password being SPTM, the Zoom bombing person may still have access or may see that and want to do something that they shouldn't. And so that's why we use both the waiting room and the password, because the password is so widely shared.
Melissa, where is that registration? When you go sign up for a meeting to take place, does it say, do you want to register? Do you want to have a registration? I don't remember
Did you
seeing
share
it.
the screen that you had up a second ago? Perhaps on that screen, it's in the advanced section.
I can go to the actual Zoom URL if you want me to.
Yeah, that's where that other option is.
Okay.
And actually, I can show you really quickly on mine if you want, because then I can share how I can see who has registered to attend a meeting and how to get back to that information as well. Would you like for me to pull that up really quickly?
Yeah, cool. I'll stop sharing. I'll let you share.
Yeah.
You just turned a co-host to Melissa, right? To do that, Jerald?
Well, actually, I just stopped sharing because she has share capabilities already as a co-host.
Ah, okay.
Are you all able to see my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if I wanted to go to meetings or schedule a meeting, I think that was already at the top of the screen and I just didn't see it. So the same option that Jerald just went through, is it still sharing? It's spinning on my side. Okay, so as I scroll down, the option to require registration.
On that page.
I think it's on the next
I'm
screen.
sorry, here it is, registration required, the little checkbox here. So right beneath recurring meeting, you'll see registration required, and you'll see the other options as well. And here's why I like that option. If I go back to, say, a meeting a previous meeting that was held, I can always go down to see, for instance, at the Toastmasters, at our Toastmasters meeting, I can scroll to the bottom and see the registration, 52 registrants. I can look at this list and and because we're continuing to use the same one, I'm seeing all who have registered to attend. Again, not everyone attends every time, but at least we have this log of who's been there and how to reach out to them.
That's so helpful. Wow.
Melissa, are you able to register on the spot? Like how today I didn't register in advance. So could I have registered right before I came into the meeting?
Yes, you could have. As long as you have the link, you should be able to do that. And so one other difference is when you require registration, your link may look a little bit different because now this is a registration link and and when you click this, it will require you, and maybe I'll add it to the chat. I don't know if anybody would be able to do it while we're in it, but it will require you to add your first, last name, email address. And then when you do that, then you get an automated email to whatever email address you use. And it'll let you know the link to click, the meeting ID, the password, and all the other pertinent details to actually access the Zoom meeting on that day and time.
Melissa, it's Michelle. I think I'm just a little bit confused about why use or not why use, but how the registration link is utilized. So can you like hit me up later for that?
Yes, I'll do that. Michelle, put some time on calendar. And I know we're running out of time, so I'll make sure that this is a topic that is covered the next time we have this session as well. Jerald, I'm going to turn it back over to you at this time.
Melissa, before you go, I have a question. I had emailed you, and thank you for sending me the password, but in the email confirmation that I received, there was no password. It was a passcode, and when I entered that, it didn't work.
Right.
How do you resolve that?
I'm not sure. Are you able to forward the email that you received that showed you something different than
Yeah,
date?
sure will.
Okay, because I'm not sure why that would have been the case.
That happened to me too, Angela.
Okay, then I'll take that offline, Angela and Jenny, and try and understand why and share that information.
I think what happened, because I was running through the same issue, but I looked at the top portion of the email and the passcode was at the top part, not
Right.
the bottom.
That may have been it as well. And I apologize, I didn't know that was happening, and then I didn't have to register, so I didn't even receive the email that you all received as registrants. But thank you for that, Alan.
Yeah, great observation, Alan, because I noticed that. So one thing that we need to keep in mind is that Zoom can differentiate sometimes between the audio portion and the video portion. So like Alan mentioned at the top, the passcode is for like the Zoom video. So at the bottom, if you guys notice on that invitation, it's a dial-in number for audio. So that's why that passcode is there. So the bottom's audio and the top's video. All right.
If
Really quick.
excuse me, if we still have any questions after this is all over, would we be able to get your email or your phone number or something? Or is this a one-time? We so appreciate it. I mean, this is like awesome, but like, who do we talk to if we have, you're like, no.
No, you can reach out to me.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead,
I was going to offer, Jerald, if I could, for all that participated tonight, I can send a survey with additional questions, and included in that survey will be a way to contact us. We don't have sort of a district inbox for those type questions that I'm aware of. Brian, you're on, so let me know if I'm misspeaking here. But we'll make sure that you have a way to respond back to us or ask additional questions so that we can share responses back to you all.
Thank you.
Cool. So one last note on security, and then we'll jump right into breakout rooms, because I know you guys probably have dinner on the mind. But security features that I do want to highlight to you guys: lot meeting. If you have everybody you need in your meeting, you know there's no one else to expect. You can click the security button here at the bottom and hit lock meeting. Now this is only available for hosts, right? Hosts, maybe the co-host, but you can only do that as a host and possibly as a co-host, but you can lock the meeting. That would shun anyone else out after the folks that have been on the meeting so far. If you didn't have your waiting room enabled before the meeting, you can actually re-enable it during the meeting by enable waiting room. And you can also give participants the option to share their screen. So if I wanted, so Jenny, you asked that question there, the co-host automatically has it. The host and co-host automatically have that option to share their screen. But if I wanted to give everyone the option to share their screen, we can click this button here for allow participants to share their screen. And then you see the other options here for chat, rename yourself, unmute yourself, or even annotator on shared content. So you can make your little notes on shared content. Now, if somebody's being naughty or their device is not cooperating with the meeting, you can always remove a participant. So just in case you may have let someone in that shouldn't have been let in, you can remove that participant by going to security and remove the participant. Okay. All right, so let's jump right into breakout rooms because that's been the biggest question that we had on all the surveys. How do we make the breakout rooms? How do the breakout rooms work? All right, so first things first, host and co-host. The host can make breakout rooms and orchestrate breakout rooms. Very important. The hosts can make breakout rooms and orchestrate breakout rooms. The co-host cannot. All right, so for those of you who have control anxiety and you really want to be in control of the meeting, you want to be the host to do the breakout rooms. If you want someone to help you with the breakout rooms, they have to be the host. The co-host cannot orchestrate breakout rooms. So as the host, so Jerald's the host right now, at the very bottom here, you see that breakout rooms are to the very right to the left of reactions.
Oh,
So can you only have one host?
Yes, ma'am. You can only have one host at a time.
Well, how are you going to get help if you can't have nobody else help you?
Oh, we have help. So like Melissa's a co-host. So she was able to admit many people into the room while I was presenting a few minutes ago. So co-hosts can actually admit folks
so
into the main room.
Okay.
Right. Co-hosts can spotlight video. Co-hosts can remove folks from different rooms.
Okay.
So
Got
yeah, the co-host has limited responsibilities, but they can't do things for breakout rooms. So as the host, you can click the breakout rooms button, and this allows you to actually get the framework for your rooms. So let's say we're participating in the contest. We're going to say, Angela just mentioned the humorous speech contest. We're participating in our humorous speech contest for Gateway to Speaking Excellence, and we want to have at least, let's say, 6 to 7 rooms, right? So what I typically like to do is to make the rooms, let's say 6 or 7, we'll say 7. If I keep it at automatic, you see that where that shifted from 1 person to 2 to 3 participants per room, participants per room. Well, that's not necessarily what we want. We don't really want to automatically select anyone to go to a different room. We want to manually select folks. Why is that, Jerald? Well, your judges, you have to manually select your judges to be in a room because you selected your judges. The same for your ballot counters, your timers. Everyone has their roles. So change this from automatically to manually. And then you can create rooms, the big blue button here. And voila, you have 7 breakout rooms that allow you to assign different participants. Now you can rename these breakout rooms as well. So we just talked about judges. Let's rename breakout room 1 to, let's say, judges briefing. All right. And then we're going to have participants. So we'll name breakout room 2. And all I'm doing is basically just mousing over, using my mouse to go over the room number and click rename. We'll say contestants briefing.
Hey, Jerald, you might have already covered it, but just to mention, the breakout rooms that he's showing you is not in the free version.
oh,
So you have to have paid for at least the pro version, which I think is like $15 a month. And then your meetings can go as long as you need, but it's not in the free version.
Right. And Tim, they may have made an adjustment to that, but you're absolutely right. At the very beginning of when we were starting to use Zoom, you can't have the free version be used for breakout rooms. I think there was supposed to be an addition to that, but at the same token, even if you did have the free version, like Tim just mentioned, you're only going to be there for 40 minutes, and that's not going to be enough time for you. All right. So once you have your rooms set up, we can actually start assigning people to rooms. Now, just because I assign someone to a room doesn't mean they automatically go there. What this means is it basically prepares that person to go there when I click open all rooms. If you guys can see my screen still, open all rooms is grayed out. It's not a big blue button like it normally would be. So until we assign any individuals to a room, this will be grayed out. So let's go ahead and just assign some folks to a room. Let's say, Tanya, you can go to the contestants briefing here. And
Yeah, I put that cowboy standing there by herself.
yes, ma'am, Miss Bennett. And so Michelle sounds like a very stern judge. So we'll put Michelle in the judge's briefing room. Right? And so you can have, just sporadically have any types of, folks that need to have different roles. So you have judge's briefing, you have a ballot counter room, right? Or sergeant at arms briefing room.
So while you're doing that, I'm just remembering in the contest that I was attending, they were confused, the person that was doing it. So what would give that host information they need? Everybody changes their name? Is that what it is? I mean, you put it in front of their name. Which training is that? How? So when they look at the names, instead of just seeing Jenny at the top, it would say Judge Jenny, and then you would know to put her in judges.
Well, your judges got to remain anonymous. So what gives it away for me is basically, and this is a tip that I'm so glad we implemented in May or even in March, just have a list of all the folks that are going to participate beforehand if you're the Zoom master, and that way you can actually go ahead and assign them as soon as they come in. So if someone is confused about who they should be assigning to different places, just make sure they know what the roles are beforehand, especially for judges, because you don't want to put like Judge Jenny or Judge Katrina or Judge Michelle, because then all of a sudden it's, okay, we know who the judges are.
Right.
And you get bombarded with questions afterwards if they don't win. Because I'm going to ask, why didn't I win?
So you
Right.
have to know in advance. But then if someone wants to go to the evaluation seminar, they can put that in front of their name, and that way the host knows which room they want to be in.
Right. If it's like a TLI and they had like different training sessions, we can put like like you said, evaluation, or let's say a mentor group. They can put some type of initial before their names or some kind of acronym before their name to allow you to know which room they want to go to.
Mm-hmm. Am I going to be a Zoom master after this?
Well, you watch this training, you practice a few times, Miss Michelle, I guarantee you will be a Zoom master in no time. Yes, ma'am. All right. So right now we have folks assigned to different rooms. We have 3 judges. We have a few ballot counters and timers. We have the 1 contestant, because Michelle said we only need to have the Cowboys fan in the room by herself. So let's say, for instance, we have found that we need to exchange someone. I made a mistake. Luis should be a judge instead of a ballot counter, a SA, or a timer. So we could either exchange him for someone who's already in the judge's room, or just really just move him to that place. So I can mouse over Luis's name, highlight him, and click move to, and send Luis to the judge's briefing.
So Gerald, the thing I'm confused about is like, all right, you know how you said that as people come into the room, you could assign them to the room they're going to. So the judge goes there and the evaluator goes there and blah, blah, blah. But does it happen But don't they go to those rooms immediately? So that would defeat the purpose, because first you're gonna be all in one group. So what is the time frame that this happens? Isn't it automatic? You can't do it beforehand because it would,
There's ways to, and that's a great question. There are ways to actually have participants, especially if they register with Zoom, you can actually have them be assigned to a breakout room. And once the rooms are ready to go, just hit open all rooms and they'll automatically be assigned there.
oh,
But,
they're not moving anywhere till you say open all rooms.
right,
Ah, there it is. Okay.
right. And so until you hit open all rooms, then folks will move. Now, we're going to do a little experiment here in just a second. So Melissa, I'm going to have you go to the ballot counter room. And we're just going to use these two rooms. I think our favorite Cowboy fan had to leave. But when I click open all rooms, folks are going to start to see. As a matter of fact, if you get a prompt to go to a breakout room, don't go, because I want to show you how it looks for a person to go and how it looks when people have not gone. So when I hit open all rooms, right now you see that I can tell that folks have not joined. I can also tell who's not assigned.
Wait, so don't hit it. Don't hit it, right?
Right. Now, if you hit it, so let's say, for instance, Melissa, if you don't mind, if you hit it to go to the room, you guys are going to see her change to green. Everyone see that? So Melissa now changed to green. That's how you know someone's actually in the breakout room.
Because there's only that this covers it up. So I mean, okay, hold on, let's see. I don't see green because I think that rectangle is covering it up. The host is inviting you to join the breakout room.
Gerald, your screen is blocking Melissa, I suppose.
Ah, that may make sense. All right, so when the recording comes out, you guys will see it. I apologize.
Okay.
But Melissa,
I see. Okay. That means she went because it's green.
correct.
Ah, okay.
Correct. So now I'm going to close all rooms, and then we'll allow Melissa to come back.
Mhm.
And ta-da, Melissa is back. All right. So there's a lot more that's involved, and I know we have only a little bit more time here, but one thing I do want a couple things to point out. Once you close all rooms, for your contest, you may want to start deleting the rooms as you are done with them. And here's why. So after your briefing, when you close all rooms, if you notice, the judges are still there. Jenny's still there, Katrina's still there, Luis and Michelle are both still there. If they had the rooms open again during the contest, they would get a prompt to move to the same room during the contest. We don't want that. We only want just a few folks moving at different times. So what we do is we just go ahead and mouse over that contest name and we hit delete. And we'll delete that room as soon as we're done with it. And those folks are still in the main room, but we can just assign them to a different room at a different given point in time. All right. And I do apologize, folks. It looks like 11 minutes over now. So Melissa, how do you want to handle this? Should we have like a part 2 maybe at a later date?
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I definitely think that we're going to have more training. We do have the youth leadership program scheduled for next month. We will continue to I think it might be helpful to have a Zoom forum or something like that on maybe an extension of our Facebook page. That might be something that we can consider as a district leadership team. Tim and Brian, if Brian may have had to drop, but maybe that's something we can talk about bringing to fruition so that we can continuously have ongoing interaction, questions, and show and tell amongst the group. And then in November, I know it seems like a good ways from today, but based on the different proficiency levels of Zoom, so Zoom beginners versus someone who's familiar with all the basics, the 101, but really want to know how to focus in on running an effective contest and doing some of those things that you talked about as far as moving people over to breakout rooms and making sure that your evaluation participants or your table topics participants are sequestered into a quiet place with the sergeant at arms to kind of oversee. Maybe we can break it out into different segments of Zoom or different levels of Zoom so that people can go to where they feel like they need the most assistance. We're definitely continuing to work through the Zoom challenges, and I'm going to actually defer to Tim if we're able to get something else pulled together before that time. I think our challenge is going to be overlapping with the contest because we are now in the midst of contest season. And so we're going to be competing with a lot of other key dates.
Yeah. Well, two things let me throw out. We have had several of these types of training sessions with the area directors and the division directors. We've had multiple sessions with those guys trying to help them get up to speed so they're comfortable. Obviously, they've got their area contest coming up. And for some of them, they may be a great resource to tag and say, hey, I've got a little question here or there. They may be able to help you go through that as well. Some of them are in the same boat as you, that it's maybe their first time doing it. So that's why we've had multiple sessions with them. The second thing I would tell you is that Zoom actually has a lot of great training videos. And when we first started doing Zoom as a district, that's the thing that our trio members did. We went out to Zoom, watched different videos. They're not going to talk about, oh, here's your evaluation room that you would set up. They're just going to talk about setting up breakout rooms and doing it on automatic or doing it on manual. But again, you can learn the functionality of Zoom utilizing their videos that they already have. And then if you've got questions, then you can get back with us as well.
Also, isn't there a Zoom conference coming up next month, Tim?
Yes, there is. There is a Zoom conference and it's free to sign up. I think it's in the middle of October.
Zoomtopia.
So Zoomtopia, as Glenda reminded me of what it was called. So you can sign up for that, and just like going to our own conferences, there will have some training sessions available.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
So I just wanted to take a moment to just recognize and show some gratitude to Jerald. We appreciate you, good sir, for always being willing to share your knowledge and continue to help each one of us be just as strong as you are in this Zoom platform. We appreciate your time. And thank you for everyone for participating and raising your questions and just helping this to be more of an interactive learning participation session. So I appreciate all of you, and certainly thanks to Tim and the rest of the leadership team for their vision around this and us getting an opportunity to actually see it happen. I'm proud of that and happy to be a part of it as the education chair, and look forward to more informative sessions that'll help us all improve as we go along our journeys. Thanks everybody for joining. Look out for a survey from me and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Jerald.
Thank you, Jerald.
Have a good night, everybody.
Love you anyway.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen. Tim and Glenda, be safe.
Thank you.
Or Tim, do you want me to hang around for a moment?